Bear with me for a minute. I'm going to touch on a sensitive subject, but only with a gentle touch. The kind that makes the hairs on your arms rise for a moment, then slowly lay back down. The subject is woven into what I'm about to say, and what I'm about to say is centered around you. Have you ever looked your soul in the mirror? I know it sounds impossible, but I'm speaking from a place where impossible starts to unravel. For me, it wasn't just a thought or a metaphor. It was real. I stood there one day staring into the mirror, having one of those moments where reflection meets reality. There I was, looking at the person looking back at me and wondering, who is he? In that moment, I could see the obvious, the outer version of myself, my skin, the lines in my face, the subtle marks that tell stories no one else knows. I saw the man who's lived, who's struggled, who's endured, the one who still stands. But even while I was taking in everything the world sees when it looks at me, my attention was pulled straight to my eyes. And once my focus locked in, everything else disappeared. The mirror didn't just reflect me, it recognized me. They say you can learn a lot about someone by looking them in the eyes. Well, there I was, staring into my own, and for the first time in a long time, I remembered who I really am. That phrase gets tossed around a lot. Remember who you are. But hear me when I say this. When you look your soul in the mirror, it doesn't just remind you. It reintroduces you. Because somewhere along the way, we all build an insulated life around ourselves, a version that runs tangent to who we truly are. We censor what we say. We hide what we feel. We filter what we show. There's the version of you that everyone sees. And then there's the one only your soul remembers. When you finally strip away everything the world has laid on you, the expectations, the opinions, the labels, what's left isn't just you. It's what God saw when he made you. That's what the mirror moment really is. It's not just reflection. It's revelation. It's the reminder that the image looking back isn't random or accidental. It's divine design, looking at divine intent. See, somewhere along the way, we started believing that God was out there, distant, detached, somewhere above the clouds. But when he said, let us make man in our image, he placed a piece of himself right here within. That means when you look your soul in the mirror, you're not just seeing who you are. You're catching a glimpse of the God who made you. And maybe, just maybe, that's what those early artists were trying to capture. When the first European painters began to draw Jesus, they painted him to look like themselves. And while history has wrestled with what that meant and what it caused, there's something human in that act that we often miss. They were trying to paint the divine as they understood it, through their own reflection. Maybe they weren't wrong for wanting to see themselves in the story. Maybe they just stopped too soon. Maybe they stopped at the surface of the mirror instead of looking through it. Because if they had looked deeper, past the skin, past the color, past the culture, they might have seen what I saw that day. That nothing we paint can ever capture what we see when God's image stares back. That's when the awakening begins. When you stop seeing flaws and you start seeing formation, when you realize the same hands that shape mountains also shape your soul, when reflection stops being about you and starts becoming about him. So now I ask again, have you ever looked your soul in the mirror? Not the mirror hanging on the wall, but the one that's been waiting inside you all along. The one that doesn't show your reflection, but you're becoming. If you ever find the courage to really look, to stand still long enough for truth to catch up to you, don't be afraid of what you see, because you're not staring into failure or regret or the version of you that fell short. You're looking at clay that's still on the wheel, a soul that God is still shaping. The reflection may not look perfect, but it's not supposed to. It's in process. It's in purpose. And when that realization hits that you were made in his image, that you were never forgotten in the making, you see it. You see him. Because the mirror doesn't lie. It reveals. And sometimes the thing God's been trying to show you all along is you.